And that kind of leads into a whole other subject you kind of touched on a little bit, is hunter satisfaction. You know, you've done a little bit of research into that,
Yeah.
but you know, correct me if I'm wrong, it's proven that the lower the limit, the more hunter satisfaction, the higher the limit, the less hunter satisfaction. Is that true or not?
We have seen that. We have seen that, and we started in a very unprofessional way. In the old days, in fact, up until just a few years ago, at the flyway meeting in the winter, the first thing we would do is all of the states would read their hunting reports. So Robert Helm was the waterfowl program manager for 23 years in this state, and he wrote 23 hunting reports. And he wrote them in February. So he didn't have any harvest data. He had no harvest data. He had no band recovery data. What he had was hunting reports. And so he wrote this thing and presented it at the flyway every year, as did every other state. Well, somebody, Barry Wilson and myself, had the bright idea of saying, let's look. That's the same guy that wrote these 23 reports. Let's look at those reports and let's give him a score from 1 to 10. 1, worst hunting ever, 10, best hunting ever. And we put some keywords together as to how we would score this. And so Dr. Alan Afton, Dr. Frank Rower, myself, and a number of other professionals read these 23 reports that Robert Helm wrote, and we gave them a score from 1 to 10 of hunting success. And then we looked at those scores relative to the BPOP and relative to the harvest. And guess what we found? When the BPOP was high and the harvest was large, hunter success in Robert's reports was low. They would score 4 or 2. But during the 30-day seasons with 3 duck limits, the hunter success was higher. They reported it to be higher. And what we learned, because we're slow learners, but we do learn, is that satisfaction is the interaction between your expectation and your experience. And when you have a 30-day season with a 3-bird bag, your expectation is very low. And you go out hunting, especially in Louisiana, and you kill your 3 ducks, and then you say, wow, maybe I should wait a little bit and not limit out on green wings and kill a pintail or a mallard. And so hunters were actually reporting better hunting success when the population was low and the harvest was low because their expectations were low.
I know we see that trend here at Grosse Savanne when the teal season went from 4 to 6. We had identical group at the 4 limit sitting in eating breakfast at 7:30, killed their 8, high five, and
Happy
got
as
their
a
limit.
clam.
The following year the limit went to 6, had to stay till 9:30, killed maybe 11, still killed more birds the year before.
Right.
Came back and said, man, it was terrible. And we didn't get our limit, you know. So I can see where that happens. So, Jim, and you hunt all the flyways. You know, what is your thoughts on hunter satisfaction and limits and that kind of stuff?
Pretty much what you just said, traveling around the country with most people. You know, they shot a limit. We shot a limit of ducks. We're happy. And with my groups, a lot of times, depending on where we're hunting, if we shoot our 4 mallards, we're done. Or 5 mallards in case if you're in the central flyway. You know, you're not waiting around to shoot a couple teal or something. But most people like to say, we got it, we're done, whether it's 2 or 10. You know, I think you say a lot. Now, a lot of guys myself, Kason, we like to hunt. We enjoy going hunting. So that's why we go. And hopefully we get to shoot a limit of ducks, but that's not necessarily the main thing. I think one thing we got to do with people is we got to educate them to a good day is not just necessarily a big heavy strap of ducks. Of course, sure, I like that. I like to smell burnt powder as much as anybody. But I'll tell you a little story. A fellow I know by the name of William Colvin from northwest Louisiana, Bernice, Louisiana. He said, Jimbo, he said, we need to develop a how many hat. I said, a what? He said, a how many hat. He said, think about it. You go hunting or you go fishing. You come back into the coffee shop after you've been hunting and you see your buddies. What's the first thing they're going to ask you? They're not going to ask you, how's your dog, how's your boat run, how's your wife doing? They're going to ask you, how many? He said, this way, he said, I can get my how many hat, walking out and dot it up on my hat, and I just got the point, and that's how many we got. So people are forgetting that they're sure, we want a heavy strap of ducks. I want a big picture, that's cool. But man, that one bunch that you broke high and they finished 75 of them boots on 10 foot in front of you, or that great retrieve your dog did, or you took a young man and harvested his first duck. Those are the things that are truly important, and the people who play this game more understand that a lot. But a lot of people, to them, it's not everything that went on to the chase, it was all about the shooting.
And Jim makes an important point when he says the people that do this a lot. The folks that are watching this show are probably more dedicated hunters. The people that those of us at this table deal with are more dedicated hunters. And we are not average, not representative. Now I'm coming from this from an administrative standpoint. My job description is to serve all hunters in the state of Louisiana, not just those that hunt a lot or hunt a little. And so when we design these surveys to ask hunters what it is that they're hunting for, what is it that satisfies them, what we find is data that shocks hardcore dedicated Louisiana hunters, because it's absolutely necessary to kill ducks to have a satisfying hunt. On average, overall, we see that satisfaction goes up significantly from 1 duck to 2 ducks to 3 ducks to 4 ducks. But once hunters kill 4 ducks, very little satisfaction is gained from the 5th duck and the 6th duck. And of course, I have some people from my Louisiana hunting surveys that are not satisfied unless they kill more than 6 ducks. So, I mean, a lot like my wife, there's nothing you can do there.
I think a lot with that, back to answer your question, besides harvest, is hunter opportunity. Guys want to go hunting and think in their mind they've got a really good chance for success. And I think that's a bunch of it. The opportunity, you know you're not going to get them every day, but if you feel you have an opportunity to shoot a limit of ducks and feel good about it, it's going to help. And then you got that other side, the ones that probably want to shoot more than 6 are the ones when they pull up on a duck and pull the trigger, they want him to blow up in a ball of flames and a fiery crash. You know, they think that'd be cool too. But I think hunter opportunity and getting to be a part of those traditions in traditional areas, I think is a big part of it.
And those same surveys that I'm referring to talk about seasonal duck counts. And those data are clear. On the National Duck Hunter Survey and Louisiana Duck Hunter Survey, we got the very similar answer. And that is that 85% of the hunters are satisfied with 50 or fewer ducks a season. I'm sorry, but most of the guys that I come in contact with, that come to the public meetings, that roust my boo-hon via email, they wouldn't get out of bed for 50 ducks a season with 60-day seasons and 6-bird limits. But it gives you an idea of what satisfies the average hunter, what kind of hunting we need to provide to provide satisfying experiences for the majority of our constituents.
What were you going to say, Casey?
I was just going to echo what you said. We've seen the exact same thing with our clients. You know, when you had 3 duck limits, the success was easier to attain at that level. And I think that's where a lot of hunters measure success, is limiting out, you know, and whether it's 3 or 6, you feel the same way about how you got them, you know, and that's, we've seen the exact same thing.
And because the season length and the bag limit are supposed to be correlated to the health of the population, the size of the population, you actually have accomplished the same thing, killing 3 birds on a 30-day season with a 3-bird limit that you did with a bag limit of 6. Because hunters view the bag limit as congruent to the population size.
What this profession has done, when you make the comparison with waterfowl, we spend 75% of our time trying to figure out how to wring another drop of blood out of a population. And then there's upland bird managers. That's just 3 a day. Go shoot 3 sharp-tailed grouse a day. Been that way for 50 years. There's all these landscape level changes. Sharp-tailed grouse hunters are some of the happiest people in the world. I run into them all the time in western North Dakota. They're cheery, happy guys. Got 2 cubby rises today. How about you? You know, duck hunters, they're miserable. It's such a monster that we've created. Literally, we've created this.
Yeah.
Such a contrast.